Oh, and I'm smoking. Shit.
It's all good, man. Who cares?
No problem. I'm drinking coffee.
With a little Bailey's in it.
Nah, should have sprinkled some of that in there though.
A little extra kick.
Welcome to Sportscaster News Week 16, guys. Week 16.
Oh,
No Ray Route with us today, but we got Keith McPherson, Joe Noobo. They agreed that they wanted to talk football today, especially after last night's game. But before we get to last night's game, let's go ahead and go over San Francisco pretty much saying, Arizona, you're going to have a hard time getting in the playoffs now.
Yep.
All right. And then Tampa Bay just putting a thumping on Detroit and Alvin Kamara having his way with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start off. Guys, what's your thoughts on San Francisco knocking off Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals?
I mean, it's concerning, right? If you're a Cardinals fan or if you're Kyler Murray, because I even talked about it during the offseason that I thought if there's one quarterback that I could see having that second-year leap like a Patrick Mahomes or like a Lamar Jackson did, I thought it would be Kyler Murray. And he has played well, I think. I think that there were points in the season that maybe he was considered for MVP. I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore. But it's a little concerning. Now, maybe it is a divisional opponent. It's the San Francisco 49ers. They're pretty familiar with, playing the Cardinals. But you have an offense with DeAndre Hopkins. You have good receivers. You need to be able to put up points, right? 12 points is not going to cut it. So, I would just imagine if it was any other quarterback other than Kyler Murray, how the media would be laying into him for only putting up 12 points and having DeAndre Hopkins there, right? I'm just saying it's a little concerning, I think. And now the Cardinals don't control their destiny. I believe the Bears are actually in control of their destiny because of the Cardinals' loss yesterday. So just an absolute collapse from the Cardinals, a team that I had in the playoffs for sure. I think a lot of people had them in the playoffs, and it looks like they might miss it now. So, Yeah,
didn't they start off like 4-1 or 5-1? And then they're a mixed bag. You don't know what you're going to get from them week to week. And I think there was some weird mojo with them sharing the stadium with the 49ers and letting the 49ers play in their place. They got a little comfortable in their house. And when it came to that game yesterday, I'm like, okay, they just know what to do to stop these guys. And they had enough offensively with Jeff Wilson and George Kittle still being out there. Like, he was supposed to be done for the season. He said, no, I'm going to get a little bit of this at the end. And now you're looking at the Cardinals we're not so sure about a team that in the beginning of the year, there was a lot of hype and a lot of buzz around Kyler, Hopkins, and what these guys could do under Cliff Kingsbury. Now we're kind of looking at them as, hey, they're average. Maybe they shouldn't be in the playoffs.
Yeah, that you need a defense, right? You need a defense in order to get into the playoffs, let alone play in the playoffs. Speaking of defense, Tom Brady and his 350 yards passing and 4 touchdowns against the defenseless Detroit Lions. And I say defenseless because a lot of people say a good defense is a solid offense, but when you don't have your starting quarterback because he's out early in the first quarter with an ankle injury, it's a rout, right? 47-7, Tampa Bay over Detroit. Any thoughts about this game?
I mean, you got to change their name to Detroit, the Detroit Lions, because there was no defense, like you said, no D. Yeah, look, I mean, the Bucs completely outmatched, out-talented, out-coached the Lions completely. Tom Brady probably had his best game of the season, I would say, against the Detroit Lions. So, props to him. Yeah, I mean, not much to say about this game other than maybe, Stafford needs to get out of there. Let's be real here, because it's just, I think the more games he plays with the Detroit Lions is just another wasted year of his career. Let's be real here, right? Because we've seen you saw the no-look pass that Stafford did like last week. The guy has talent, and everybody knows. We even said he's like a top 10 quarterback, right, when we were making our rankings. But playing for Detroit, man, it's not good for anybody.
Yeah, this game was over at half. It might have been over before the half. I ended up leaving. I'm glad I didn't stay to watch it. I had something I had to go do, and I heard it on the radio by me. WFAN, New York radio, actually had it on. And in the second half, I hear Blaine Gabbert coming out to start. Stafford was already out. It was just bad for the I almost called them the Bengals. It's just bad for the Lions fans. Like, I don't know if there are Lions fans still, but they get embarrassed on Thanksgiving. They get embarrassed the day after Christmas. It's tough to handle. And the Bucs, I won't buy too much into the Bucs off of this win because they're playing against the Lions. This was a tune-up game for them. This was a game to get right for them, and they should look good. Tom Brady should look good against this team and then be able to get rest. So I wasn't too surprised by any of this. I will say I hope Matt Stafford gets out of there, or he is going to be in the line of these great players that waste 10 years on the Lions, and then that's just it for them. I mean, these guys fired Matt Patricia, and then I think the second coach in line got COVID. The Lions were on their third head coach yesterday, calling the plays for their defense. The defense was non-existent. So no surprise there. 47-7 is about what I was going to expect anyway.
All right. So if I give you this line right here, if I told you that the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins had almost 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, Dalvin Cook would have 5 yards a carry, and the starting quarterback for the opposing team had 0 touchdowns passes and 2 interceptions, you would say, well, the Vikings won, right? The Vikings had to have won this game, right? I mean, They scored the Vikings 33 points and all that in their favor, but then you got Alvin Kamara rushing for 6 touchdowns for the New Orleans Saints, tying an NFL record, an all-time NFL record, and the Saints win 52-33. What are you guys thinking about on this game?
So I think that there was people on Reddit calling it the Kamarmageddon or something like that. It's a little, it's all right. It's a nice name anyway. But one question I have as an Alvin Kamara fantasy owner, why could he not do this last week when I needed him in my final round and I got eliminated last week, and now I'm playing for third place and he goes up and puts up 56 points for me? I mean, I'll take it, but still, come on, man. It could have been before I got eliminated. But anyway, I mean, Kamara's a beast. He's an absolute monster. If he can play like this, he can really take over games, and the Saints can do a lot of things. But if he faces up against defenses that are actually able to bottle him up and, not let him walk into the end zone 6 times, then it's going to be a little bit more of a problem for this Saints offense. We've seen Drew Brees is definitely not 100%. He's probably still feeling that rib, the broken ribs and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, if the Saints are just able to ride Alvin Kamara the rest of the season and into the playoffs, I'm sure they will be extremely happy with that, and they would take that all day. And also their defense is still pretty solid, even though, Captain Kirk had a pretty good day. But I mean, they kind of had to try to keep pace with Alvin Kamara there.
Yeah, this is what I was expecting from the Saints last week. I think when we came together and talked on here, I'm like, if they can get Alvin Kamara going with Drew Brees, no Michael Thomas, he's a featured back. He's a feature weapon in the offense. Didn't happen last week. Sorry, Joe, your fantasy team. It just doesn't line up, man. My fantasy team got bounced last week too. I didn't have Kamara, but I know there's somebody out there who had Kamara in the championship this week, and he put up 60 points. So good for you if you had him. The Vikings are another team that I just think, they had a slow start in the beginning of the year. They could have been a playoff team this year. And the Saints probably had it out for them going off the, exits that the Vikings have handed the Saints. Had to be a good feeling for the Saints at home to, put up 52 points on them, set an NFL record, stuff like that on them. Wasn't too surprised by this game. I am very interested to see what the Saints offense looks like, because if this is what the Saints plan to do in the playoffs with Kamara, it's going to be a little different. I don't care if it's Taysom. I don't care if it's Drew Brees. If they can get him going and he can be a beast the next month, it's going to bode well for New Orleans.
So fantasy owners, as Noobo was saying just earlier, man, go look at Alvin Kamara's stats right now so far this season with 1 game left, 16 rushing touchdowns,
wow,
5 touchdowns receiving. That's 21 touchdowns on the season, guys. 21 touchdowns. Oh my goodness. And he's got over almost 1,700 yards from scrimmage currently.
Yep. Impressive. Get him up to 2,000, man. Let's make it happen.
And don't forget, this is on the season where Alvin Kamara got that huge extension right after two other people got their extensions.
He definitely came through.
All right.
You're looking at Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
Didn't play much this year. Dalvin Cook lived up to the hype and they got their money's worth out of him. But Kamara, another thing I mentioned about Kamara, we saw his offseason training videos and how he practices his balance and different techniques we haven't seen in the gym. It's paid off. Look at this guy.
Yep. All right. So last night's game, tons of AFC playoff implications. You had the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Miami Dolphins. And I'll tell you what, if you miss this game, that's fine. That's fine. You can finish it off. The last 4 minutes of the game pretty much completely sums up the entire game. I mean, that's it. In that game, oh my goodness, I'll tell you what, Vegas should have won this game without any question in my mind. I can't believe Gruden did what he did and forced his running back, Josh Jacobs. He's like, hey, I want you to go down. I don't want you to run for a touchdown. I want to kick a field goal with like 30 seconds left or something like that. And we'll have a small lead. We'll have a 2-point lead with like my opinion on this. This is the dumbest mistake you could. As soon as I saw it and he went down, I'm like, at the 1 yard line, I was like, okay, that's fine. He went down at the 1 yard line. Let the time run out and then rush it in for a touchdown, because I'm sorry, in my opinion, and I was thinking this when it happened. This isn't just afterthought because of what ended up happening. In my opinion, it is a lot easier for a team with like 20, 30 seconds left on the clock to go 35 yards to kick a game-winning field goal than it is for anyone to go 75 yards in less than a minute to score a touchdown. And I get the whole the thing that happened a few weeks back. It helped them, but they were in a different situation. And quite frankly, Ryan Fitzpatrick was on fire once he came in and replaced Tua Tagovailoa. Guys, what are you thinking? Miami comes out, squeaks this out with some more Fitzmagic late in the game, winning by 1 with that field goal that I talked about.
So disappointing, man. I was watching this entire game closely because the Dolphins are one of those teams that I would like to see lose. So, of course, the Ravens can make it in. I do have some bias. I can't lie. But wow, so frustrating. And I completely agree with you, Lawrence. I know a lot of people were saying, no, that was the right decision. Just, get down, kneel down, and leave like less time on the clock for the Dolphins. But how did that work out? It didn't, right? And especially considering all John Gruden had to do on defense at the end of the game, all he had to do was ask Madden, right? Because what does Madden do in Hail Mary situations? Either prevent defense or cover 3-man deep. Oh, that's all he had to do, and he doesn't do that. They called cover 2 and leave the sideline wide open for Mac Hollins. And on top of that, they get a face mask roughing the passer penalty to give him 15 more yards on top of that. Oh, my God, just the biggest collapse I've ever seen. Embarrassing. I would be absolutely embarrassed, and I would be calling for John Gruden's job right now if I was a Raiders fan. Just absolutely terrible. But I did want to pose this question to you guys, because I think in the long run we see that putting Fitzpatrick in over Tua was the right decision for that game. But do you guys think it's the right decision for Tua's future? Do you think this kind of shatters his confidence a little bit, getting benched? I don't think he played particularly bad. I mean, he wasn't anything spectacular. He was just being very safe. And I think that's the reason that Brian Flores put in Fitzpatrick, because he knew that they needed to win this game, so he wanted to take more chances. But what do you guys think that this does for Tua?
I'll let Keith go.
Sure.
I don't think this does anything negative for Tua. And even in his post game, he was smiling. He's like, they call him Fitzmagic for a reason. Yeah. It's about their relationship, and it's about the chemistry they both have with this team and how they went to Tua early, and that was kind of unexpected. I think it's like not quarterback by committee committee, but it's a type of situation where like they're just doing what's best for the team. And Tua said that when he first got benched, I forget who they were playing against.
I think it was Denver. Yeah,
it was against Denver, and they were saying that he's still a rookie, man, and there's some defenses that are going to confuse him. There's some things that he can't see, just some like feel that he can't see, and most importantly, he was hesitant and playing safe because he wasn't seeing guys as open. Right at Alabama, you got Jerry Jeudy and you got Henry Ruggs. They're always open, like they're 5 yards open every time. In the NFL, open is literally 5 inches of open to be able to get the ball to the receiver's hands in a place where the receiver can catch it. Fitzmagic knows that, being in the league 14, 15 years. So when they go to him in a game like last night, which I looked at that game, my dad's a Dolphins fan, and I saw my dad obviously Christmas, and I'm like, this is a playoff game. And the Dolphins need to go into this game and make moves and decisions like it's a do or die game. Like this could be the last game of the season. And they did. And Gruden, I understand Raiders fans being pissed off because, okay, Gruden's got a 10-year contract. He's about halfway through that. This is year 4. Man, it's going to be another year where they're on the outside looking in, not getting back to a playoff. And they have a beast team. Darren Waller, no one can stop that guy. Josh Jacobs, he's playing hurt. He's been hurt the last few weeks and still getting off doing his thing. Nelson Aguilar, this is a guy that people were saying he's a bum. He can't catch. No, he's actually looking like a pretty solid receiver in Las Vegas. So they have a lot of talent, and they just weren't able to put it together. And when you see a team lose a game late like that, when you're watching the last 5 to 10 minutes of that game, there's just a small window for the Dolphins to win it. And I feel like it was like watching a movie. Everybody knew the Dolphins were going to win this behind Fitzmagic. He's going to make a play. And as a coach, you tell your guys, hey, listen, no stupid penalties. There's only seconds left to play. No stupid penalties, guys. Fitzmagic gets the face mask and gets the throw off. And I'm just like, I'm sitting in my bed watching the game like, of course. The probability, the win probability was so small. There's only a couple ways that you could win this game. Get a penalty that is tacked on to a ridiculous play that was just a coverage beater, and now you're in position to kick the field goal, and they have a good kicker. Like, I knew that the whole time. Like, this Sanders guy's a good kicker. Like, if they get him close, he's going to drill it, and he did. So, good job for Brian Flores. There's a guy who they're above schedule and or ahead of schedule, and they're playing above their heads. And I feel like they call him Flo. He's flowing right now. He's got that defense and that offense doing enough to win. And it ain't about, blowing teams out. It's about figuring it out how to win and playing the full game, winning it in the fourth quarter. And the Dolphins, they did that last night. I kind of like their chances, depending on where they land and who they match up with. I was saying to my dad, because we have Steelers fans in our family, I'm like, I want the Dolphins to get the Steelers.
So, yeah, no, that was definitely the right call to put Fitzpatrick in at that point in time. And as for, the career of Tua, I completely agree with Keith. It's not going to do anything. Fitzmagic is not only a journeyman, but he's a mentor. All right. And your Padawans basically are always going to want to watch their mentor, their masters out there throwing the football, learning from them, seeing what they do live action during the game. And Tua probably just was sitting on the sidelines just going, this is freaking awesome, man. Look, that was an 85-yard. What? So you can throw short and watch the guy go a whole distance of the field for a touchdown. I didn't know that.
Gaskin. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay, my issue is what's going to happen with Fitzpatrick after the season? Can the Dolphins find a way to keep him just in case? Because I will guarantee you there are teams out there right now that are quarterback needy that's not going to be able to get the top 3 picks in this draft, that's going to be looking at Fitzpatrick going, he is that guy. He has proven it time and time and time again to be that middle quarterback,
right,
bridge quarterback, and we could win with him.
But what happens if Miami, like you said, like some teams do look at Fitzpatrick and say, hey, he's still a viable starter, and then Miami can't keep him. What are the Dolphins going to do if they have to rely on Tua, right? And he's having a similar game to what he had last night. They can't pull him. They're just going to have to roll with Tua, right?
He's got to take the next step. Like by next year, there should be enough film and learning lessons. Like he's got to take the next step by next year.
This is where the offseason, this upcoming season, is going to be critical, and hopefully we don't have another COVID situation on our hands where there is no offseason, because he is absolutely, positively going to need quarterback coaching from his coaches this offseason in order to take that next step.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into some of these games that actually are going to be happening shortly, like what, in an hour and a half? Joe, do the New York Jets stand any fighting chance? Now, I get that they came back and they were just like dominant last week. Just, we're going to take this. Screw you and this 99% chance we're going to lose. Can they beat the Cleveland Browns?
All right, so I have to come out straightforward here. I got to be honest with you guys. I do have some biases with today's picks because for the Ravens side of things, we would really like the Colts to lose today. So I'm going to I'm going to play devil's advocate today. And even though I've been leading the whole movement that the Steelers are overrated, I actually am going to flip to the other side and say why I don't think they're actually that overrated. But anyway, and also I want to give my debate, my points why the Jets could pull off another upset against the Cleveland Browns. So the Browns have no receivers, right? I mean, they're down to literally their fifth stringers and sixth stringers and practice squad receivers. So they're going to have to rely a lot on Nick Chubb, a lot on Kareem Hunt. And what's like one shining light that the Jets may have on their team? It's their defensive line. They have a decent defensive line, right? So if the Jets can find a way, and I know this is asking a lot, if they can find a way to at least contain Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, then Baker Mayfield could potentially struggle with the play action that he loves to do, with the rollout passes that makes him so successful, and he doesn't have his receivers there. There's going to be some miscommunications there unless they just play the short game and go to tight ends and running backs, which I could potentially see happening. Then the Jets win this. But I'm not going to pick the Jets, man. I can't. It has to be the Browns. I'm going to go with the Browns. But, yeah, that's my argument for maybe the Jets pull off another upset. But at this point, it's just, wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah. Now, I'm coming to you from Jets country. I make sure everyone knows that I can see MetLife Stadium out of my window. And last night I saw the green lights, Jet Life Stadium. Jets fans think they're winning today. And they're looking to stack back-to-back wins, and this could be a organization-shifting win. Some people are saying if the Jets lose today that they could make a move and fire Adam Gase tomorrow. Some people are saying if the Jets win, it changes the whole philosophy on the draft now, right? They spent the whole season dreaming about Trevor Lawrence and tanking for Trevor and all of this other stuff now. And if they win, then they're in this mix of, okay, do we get a lineman to protect Sam Darnold and keep our quarterback that we drafted number 2 a couple years back? Or, do we trade the pick or, whatever. So I think the Jets have a shot to compete today just because they're, momentum going out to LA, beating the Rams, a better defense than this. And now they're coming back home. They got to put it together twice. When I saw that the receivers were down with COVID for the Browns, I'm like, well, won't really matter because the Jets DBs are terrible. Like the Browns practice squad guys will be able to make enough plays today. And then that running back tandem of Chubb and Kareem Hunt, good. It's cold out here in New Jersey. It's going to be a smash mouth football type of day. Run the ball. I think that the Browns, they know where they're at as far as the playoff hunt. And they know that they, even with COVID, other teams have had to deal with it. They got to come in here and get a win today. But the Jets are going to put up a fight. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a close game where, a turnover or a couple mistakes, it could go either way. I'm taking the Browns, though. I'm taking the Browns.
Come on now, Joe. Yeah, okay. So here's the situation. Mekhi Becton only sits on one side of the line. He doesn't move around like Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to go over here against that other dude.
Garrett has kind of been struggling since he came off of COVID, though. He's been losing breath a little quicker.
Yeah, but I still see, I mean, that other side of the line is awful for the Jets. And I think Garrett and company are going to have no problem getting in the backfield. Now, the one thing that can help them is Sam Darnold playing.
Yeah, I think
because Sam can avoid pressure from one guy.
Yeah,
one guy. If one guy gets in the backfield, he's good enough to avoid pressure to extend play.
I would actually call for Flacco in this game, man, because Flacco's career record against the Browns is pretty damn good. But
maybe they pull Sam Darnold late like they did Tua, and then Flacco saves the day.
I would love that. That would make my day.
Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb running duo is the best in the NFL. Yeah. Running duo. All right. By far. I mean, I get that the Ravens have a better run offense. I get that. Who else is up there? Somebody else is. Oh, yeah, Tennessee. I get that the best running back in the NFL is on Tennessee. But when you take Hunt and Chubb, two different guys, and you're getting almost 153 yards a game between those two guys. Oh my goodness. Come on. I get that the Jets have Quinnen Williams and well, that's it. But they're not going to be able to stop this run. All right. The Jets defense literally is stacked with a whole bunch of Colts leftover players. All right. Literally, that's what they have on there. Their defensive line has 2 Colts players. Their linebackers have a couple Colts players. Their secondary has a couple Colts players. This defense is ex-Colts players that weren't good enough to be on the Colts right now. So, and the Colts lost to the Browns earlier this season. So I agree with Keith, man. Even with no wide receivers, I think that Baker Mayfield, he has shown that he could put this team on his back this year at times and really go out there and just play ball. Against the Ravens last time he played, he had a heck of a game. You know, they didn't lose because of him, that's for sure. So, no, this is a game where I fully believe that the Browns walk into this and win easily. I'm sorry, Jets fans, but hope is not lost. I still think Jacksonville could win a game this year. It's still possible. Depends upon what happens
against the Colts, please. Against the Colts.
I mean, the Colts. That's where their one win came from in the season was Week 1 against the Colts. Can it happen 2 times in a row?
At the bookends of the season, Week 1 and Week 17. Imagine that.
I don't think they'll win if the Colts lose against the Steelers tonight, though. The next game that I want to go over is pretty much a who cares game. 2 teams that last week were fighting like heck in order to kind of mess up the playoff schedule. And then this week they're just fighting each other. Cincinnati, Houston. I got Houston winning this just because Deshaun Watson. Guys, Keith, you haven't went first really yet. So what do you think about this game?
Yeah, it's a home game. Might be the last home game for the Texans. I'm not sure, but like you said, Deshaun Watson, these guys, they're going to try and get a win against a Bengals team that shouldn't be able to come in there and compete with them. The spread is 7.5 in favor of the Texans. I expect the Texans to go out there and have a party with whatever weapons, they have healthy. Obviously, we know Fuller is gone. I think Cooks is fine. Kiki Cootie, David Johnson. So, yeah, I expect the Texans to roll in NRG Stadium and get a win today.
Yeah, I agree. I have the Texans as well. I know the Bengals are flying high after that amazing upset victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers that I love to see, by the way, but I also kind of don't because I need the Steelers to get their shit together. But, yeah, the Bengals, man, I mean, they're starting Ryan Finley at quarterback right now. It's Deshaun Watson. The Texans have nothing to lose for. They don't have a first-round pick. Deshaun Watson doesn't like to lose. I absolutely see the Texans winning this one. I would be actually very surprised if the Bengals pull it out, despite, like we said, how they played last week. And they didn't even play that well last week. It was just the Steelers playing bad, in my opinion. But, yeah, I have the Texans winning.
All right, we'll just jump to another game that doesn't really matter because Kansas City is, in my opinion, going to completely and utterly destroy the Atlanta defense. And I think KC's defense is good enough to create a couple turnovers as Matt Ryan and this offense tries to keep pace. I got Kansas City winning this game. Joe, what do you got?
I would love to see a shootout. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love to see it because we know what the Falcons can do on offense when everything is clicking. Julio getting, when he gets on fire. Calvin Ridley has had a pretty good season, but it's kind of going under the radar because of the Falcons. They are the Falcons. They are a 4-10 team, and they love blowing leads, just like they did last week against the Bucs. But there was some BS calls in there, man. Did you see that 4th down thing that they didn't really get, but they gave it to the Bucs anyway? But whatever, we don't have to talk about that. That's a whole other story. But yeah, I expect the Chiefs to keep rolling. And I feel like it's just an impending doom that the Chiefs are just bound to win the Super Bowl, and we're all just lying to ourselves and saying that we all have a chance. But, hey, man, Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. What can you say?
Yeah, I expect the Falcons to score some points, but if you get in a shootout with Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, they're going to outlast them, and they're at home. We'll see if I don't know what the weather's like out there. Let's see. If 44 degrees, let's see if the Falcons coming from the South used to playing in a dome can keep pace with them. Julio Jones is out. So I guess it's going to be Calvin Ridley, Todd Gurley, Hayden Hurst. I don't know. I think Matt Ryan figures out how to score a couple touchdowns, maybe 3 today, but the Chiefs continue on. They're going to 14-1. They're going to be the number 1 seed. Just like Joe said, we're basically looking at these guys as the favorites to repeat. And I don't know if there's anyone else that's going to be in their way knocking them off, especially after they're in line to get that first round bye this year, have home field advantage. Chiefs Kingdom, we're just living in it.
Agreed. All right. Can Jacksonville some way fight through a Chicago Bears defense that has now found itself in the thick of the playoff race in the NFC?
Well, I'll go first. If the Bears can't lose this game, right? Because they control their own destiny. This would just be the biggest Bears thing ever to lose to the 1-13 Jaguars while you're still in a playoff race, right? Now, Mitch Trubisky has been playing well, and I usually give him a lot of flack. I call him Oof Bisky. That's my nickname for him. But he hasn't been really looking like Oof Bisky. He's been looking like Mitchell Trubisky, throwing those ducks of a dime that I like to call them, where they flop around, but they get there. They get to where they need to be. So shout out to Trubisky. Yeah, the Bears absolutely should win this game. I see no reason why they shouldn't. The Jags are in prime position. They have the number 1 overall pick. Why would they ruin that? I know Gardner Minshew probably isn't too big of a fan of that, but still, I think the Bears are just a better team. And unless Oof Bisky comes up and shows up again, I think the Bears should win this one fairly easily.
Yeah, man. You heard of Ryan Fitz magic? Well, here's some Minshew magic. Gardner Minshew is going to come in there today and try and do everything he can to get a win, to reclaim his starting job, to try and make conversation about, hey, well, we still got this guy and maybe we can. No, this Bears defense is good enough to stop him. I think he's going to try and do too much, probably have a couple picks, maybe some fumbles or just some bad throws. Mitchell Trubisky, man, talking about a guy reclaiming his spot and, starting some conversations. There's conversations in Chicago now about Mitch. Maybe Mitch is the guy. So if he can ball out today against this Jaguars defense, the Bears will go to 8-7. And I think the narrative will change from, those 6 games in a row that they lost. And also people saying that Mitchell Trubisky is a bust. Maybe he needed this year. Maybe 2020 was the year for him to, sit down on the bench for a little while and think about some things and learn some things. And I kind of am rooting for the guy. I hope he comes out today and has a good game against the Jaguars defense. He should. It's late in the season. I'm going with the Bears.
Now, does this affect anyone's decision on this. Jalen Johnson, the cornerback for the Bears, is out, and the entire defensive line and Khalil Mack are all questionable, plus Allen Robinson and Cordell Patterson.
They should be fine. It's the Jags. Let's be real here.
I'm going to push against this whole they're going to tank on purpose, because players and coaches don't tank. Period.
Yeah, of course.
They are fighting for their contracts, their livelihoods. You don't give up money in your pocket to go, oh well, we might get a starting quarterback that's halfway decent. They're not going to do that. I think they're going to go out there. They're going to fight their butts off. I just believe that the Bears defense, as you guys say, is just too good. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, Minshew has had times when he's done some pretty impressive stuff, and don't sleep on James Robinson. He's a Pro Bowler for a reason. All right, undrafted free agent. Come on now. And if this Jaguars offense, when they're clicking. They got a good offense. When Chark is out there playing and all, they are solid. And Laviska Shenault and all them. But I just the Bears defense is just too good.
Yeah. I just saw James Robinson is out.
Oh yes, that's rough.
So like that's their real offensive threat, and he's kind of the guy that stirs the drink if they're gonna get anything going.
Yep. I was going to say that I feel like a lot more people would know James Robinson's name if the Jags weren't such, didn't have such a ridiculous record.
He had a great year.
Yeah, if they were winning, people would know James Robinson a lot more for sure.
All right, so we're going to talk about the upset game of the week where the New York Giants come into Baltimore.
No way. No, no way.
Just don't put that out into the universe, man.
I will say one thing. If there is a team right now that the Baltimore Ravens have not played yet this year that has a shot of slowing down the Baltimore rush game, it is the Giants D. The Giants D do have a very good run defense. Their front seven is very, very solid. I think they're fifth in the NFL in rush defense, giving up like 101 yards a game, and that's it. So that's good. Now, I think Baltimore averages like damn near 180 yards a game rushing. So, give and take that as you will. And then Baltimore's pass rush, will it be here this game? They're going to need it against Daniel Jones. I mean, because when he does not have pressure, Daniel Jones does a very good job. When he's under pressure, he's like the worst quarterback in the NFL. So I'm going to let Keith go first and then give Joe a moment to talk about this game because it's highlighting his team. Keith?
Yeah, the Giants will not win this game today. Daniel Jones is coming back. They haven't, I know Daniel Jones was the guy, but they had Colt McCoy last week. They had Daniel Jones the week before, then had to go to Colt McCoy because Daniel Jones was suffering from a hamstring and an ankle. And I think I said it on here, Daniel Jones is a running quarterback. If this guy's ankle and hamstring aren't ready to go, that takes away a part of their offense that they were going to. Well, at least with Jason Garrett. Now they have Freddie Kitchens calling the plays. I don't know. I don't see the Giants winning this today. The spread is high, like a 10-point win by the Baltimore Ravens against his defense. I don't see that necessarily happening either because the Giants DBs are really good. So they're going to probably lock down the pass, make Lamar have to run. Dobbins, Ingram, those guys have to run the ball. I just think they get it done at home. I think the Ravens know that they control their own destiny in some ways. They got to win out. And I don't think the Giants are ready to – the Giants, the way it's looking in the NFC East, I think the Giants know it's over. They're going to lose, and then they got the Cowboys next week. They might be able to win that game, but I see this as a game that it's in the Baltimore Ravens' hands to figure out how to win, and I think they will. I don't know if they win by 10, but they're the better team. They've got the playoffs in their sights. I need Baltimore to get this done. Going with the Ravens.
All right, so listen, I don't care if it's Daniel Jones. I don't care if it's Colt McCoy. I don't care if it's Eli Manning. I don't care if it's Phil Simms. Whoever starts at quarterback, we are smashing them. They're smashing their face in. No,
Roger
listen.
Staubach?
Even him. I don't care. Anybody. Put whoever you want.
Roger Staubach.
No, but Yeah, listen, I know the Giants, they did beat the Seahawks. That was impressive. And when their defense is on, it's on, right? They have a very, very solid defense that can play very impressively. But so I'm not expecting to come out there and put up 40 on the board necessarily, right? Because I know they have a good run defense, and I'm not expecting to have one of those big offensive days. But I just don't think that the Giants offense has what it takes to go toe-to-toe with the Ravens defense, just straight up. I think we're going to be able – if this is like a 17-12 game, yes, this benefits the Giants, obviously. But I think I don't trust the Giants offense to get up to 20, to be honest. And if there's one offense that I trust right now, it's definitely the Ravens offense to get to at least 20. I mean, we've been putting up 40 points over the last month. Yeah, for me, I'm not really too concerned about this game, to be honest. Maybe I'm just totally overlooking the Giants, which is absolutely possible. I hope the Ravens are not overlooking the Giants, but I expect them to come in, handle their business. Really, we're just kind of looking at other games today. We're looking at the Browns and Jets game. We're looking at the Colts and Steelers game. I think that's what's going to be the focus of a lot of Ravens fans today. And, of course, we got to take care of business. What's funny, though, is that if the Dolphins did lose yesterday, we could have afforded to lose this game because we would have had more AFC wins than the Dolphins, and we would have still been in the playoffs. So even if the Dolphins would have lost yesterday and we lost today, we would still be in the playoffs. But, c'est la vie. That's not how life works, right? So we put ourselves into this situation by losing more games than we should have. But yeah, we need to handle today. We can't, we can't lose to Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, as they call him. I expect that Wink Martindale, who a lot of people are saying could be the next head coach of a team. A lot of people are looking at him, our defensive coordinator. He's going to dial up the blitzes. He's going to dial up the pressure. He's going to be sending everybody. He's going to be confusing Daniel Jones. I think it could potentially get ugly. I really do for Daniel Jones, man, because, if we send 4, we don't necessarily get that much pass rush, but if we send the blitzes like we do and send the blitz until Daniel Jones proves that he can beat it, I think we'll be fine.
Now, just to be fair, Keith, the only reason why I know who Roger Staubach played for, I'm old enough to actually remember him. The reason I said that is because I believe that Daniel Jones reminds me of a young Staubach in the way they play. Okay. Now, Staubach throughout his career got much, much, much better than what Daniel Jones currently is. But it's just the way they play is very, very similar to me. So, and that's just how I feel about it. That's why it came up. All right.
Makes sense now.
Okay. Next on my list, the last 1 o'clock game that we're going to talk about. I'm going to let you guys talk about it first, and then I will throw my 15 cents in because I got more than just 2. Little something for you. The Indianapolis Colts versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. When it comes to the Indianapolis Colts, they are out both their tackles in this game. They are out Anthony Costanzo and Braden Smith. Now, for the Steelers, outside of TJ Watt, they don't have any linebackers. They are all gone. All their starters and their secondaries. They have got practice squad linebackers in this game. The line currently is with the Colts in the favor, even with the loss of Braden Smith out of nowhere not playing, and then Anthony Costanzo with the knee not playing. I'm going to let Keith. That way I can react to Joe's BS that he's about to spill out here.
So the Steelers have been in the news all week about Juju Smith-Schuster TikTok dancing on logos, right? These guys lost 3 games in a row. They start off 11-0. They lose 3 games in a row. And the biggest issue is that Juju Smith is throwing balls, dancing on logos. That has nothing to do with the game. Now, yes, I understand it's Juju, maybe giving some added motivation. Like the Bengals came out and spoke about that before the game, and then they punished them. But that's the Bengals. I don't care if Juju Smith takes a nap on the logo before the game. You're not supposed to come out and be down 17-0 to the Bengals. So I think the Steelers are trending the wrong way. And in a game like this today in Pittsburgh, in the cold, they need their fans there. They're not going to have their fans. It's going to be a smash mouth football game, and the Colts are trending in the right direction. They're going to be able to run the ball on these guys. And then when you look at the Steelers, like their run game is not really a thing. So if it comes down to like who's going to be able to just run the ball, tough this out, win a smash mouth football game, I'm looking at the Colts to go in there and win this one. I just think they're a better team. I think they're trending in the right way. And I think that they know, like, this is a playoff game. These are two teams that are going to be in the AFC playoffs. They're going to go on the road into Pittsburgh and punch these guys in the mouth. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers are distracted by TikToks and every other excuse besides them just not playing defense and them also not being able to get it going on offense, which is why they lost their last few games, there's no excuses. Show up and play better. You started off 11-0, and we knew you were suspect. We were watching some of those games, and we knew they weren't as mighty as they seemed. I think the Colts humble them today. I think the Colts go in and win a close game, but I think when we look at the stat sheet tomorrow, we're going to say, okay, the Colts handled the Steelers in their place, and they're the better football team. So I'm taking the Colts.
Okay.
He's going to say the Steelers. No way.
For 11 weeks, I was screaming at everybody. The Steelers are overrated. They're not as good as their record indicates.
Yep.
I thought that they were an 11 to 12 win team, and that's what it looks like they're going to end up as. And that was only if everything went right. And a lot of things went right for the Steelers early on in the season, the first 11 weeks. Ben was playing well. Well, the problem is now it's getting cold, right? Now you need a running game. Now you need to play good defense, and the Steelers' defense has a lot of injuries now. They haven't – I mean, Benny Snell had a decent game against the Bengals last week. He had an okay game. He did have a fumble there early on, but it looks like they had a little bit of a running game with Benny Snell, so you never know. But do you really believe, and I know this sounds crazy because like I said they were the most overrated team I've ever seen, the worst 11-0 team, and now I'm here to say, wait, they're not that bad. Guys, listen to me, please. Everybody listen to me. They're not as bad as everybody thinks. They're not as bad as they look. I know they just lost to the Bengals, but what do I always say? The Steelers, every single year, this happens every year. They go on the road to a lesser team, and they lose. And they could be favored by 10. They could be favored by 20. They still lose that game somehow, some way. And I think that was that Steelers game for them. And I think that the Colts game could potentially be a bounce-back game. Now, I know everything tells you that that's not going to happen. The Colts are the better team. Phillip Rivers has been playing well. But what do the Steelers' defense struggle against? The read option. What can Phillip Rivers not do? The read option. He's a statue. He can't really move. I'm sure he can move a little bit.
He does a read. He doesn't do the RP. He doesn't do a running pass option, but he does a read option incredibly well. He can read the defense and then decide, am I handing it off or am I passing?
But he himself is not a threat, right? So that's my thing. I think that the Steelers defense is more so made to face up against a type of a Phillip Rivers type of quarterback, and they could find success. But yeah, listen, it's not looking good for the Steelers. I can't lie to you. It's more so me just hoping that the Steelers can pull this one out because I need the Colts to lose a game. But yeah, man, I mean, what do you want me to tell you? You know, if Jonathan Taylor gets going, you know, you pretty much put the fork in the Steelers right there. But if they're able to bottle Jonathan Taylor up, I think they do have a chance in this game, especially considering that both of your tackles are outlords, so they could have some pressure there. But if you're just running up the A and the B gap, that's been there for the taking for the Steelers pretty much all season. So, you know, I think this all depends on what Jonathan Taylor does, to be honest with you.
Nyheim Hines as well.
I want to tell you a little something that happened in the Texans game last week when Anthony Costanzo went out. Quentin Nelson slid over to left tackle, and they dropped their fourth round pick, Danny Pinter, in at left guard in the place of Anthony Costanzo. Smart. And Quentin Nelson was mauling J.J. Watt. All right. I think this week you're going to see something very similar, and then you're going to see a backup left tackle or backup right tackle go in, but you'll have Quentin Nelson on the other side. Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine having basically 5 guards on the offensive line for the Colts against a Steelers team that has no linebackers? Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines are going to have a day. I'm telling you, yes, I get the Steelers' run defense is like 5th in the NFL or something. The Colts are going to run 200 yards on them. The Colts are going to run 200 yards on them.
You heard it here first. You hear that, Steelers?
Not having Bud Dupree, people aren't talking about that enough.
Devin Bush.
Yeah.
Bud Dupree, Devin Bush, all these guys. I mean, it is terrible. And let's think about this. The Colts, something that they have that a lot of teams don't have is a multitude of good tight ends, right? They have Jack Doyle. They have Mo Alley Cox. They have Trey Burton. These are guys that could go out there and help. If TJ Watt goes out to that right tackle, they could have one or two of those tight ends out there helping stop TJ, before they break out for a pass. I think the Colts defense offense completely focuses on stopping TJ Watt and keeping him from wrecking the game.
Are the Steelers
go out there and just do it?
Are the Steelers really about to lose 6 in a row after starting off 11-0? Is that what you're telling me is going to happen?
6 in a row.
Yeah,
where'd that come from?
They're going to lose to the Colts, then they're probably going to lose to the Browns, and then they're going to lose in the playoffs, right? I mean, the way that they're playing, is that really going to happen right now? This is the Pittsburgh Steelers we're talking about.
If the Steelers lose tonight, it'll be the first time in NFL history a team has lost 3 straight after going 11-0.
Yeah, I think it's going to unravel under them. I'm saying this whole week, the amount of times I saw them talking about Juju Smith-Schuster, I'm like, that's not the problem. There's other problems that they kind of put behind that. Like
it's the Steelers' offensive line. That is the root of the problem now.
That's what I would say.
They got to
play also better. Mark Benjamin. But Benjamin, the offensive line is getting old. It's a lot of things on offense, the offensive play calling. But the whole thing with Juju, I get where you're coming from, that's not the source of the problem. But also Juju he doesn't even have 700 yards on the season. So who is he to come out and just act like he's an elite top flight receiver that can dance on people's logo?
He's an elite top flight TikToker. That's what he's acting like. He's not doing that. It has nothing to do with the football. He like built a brand on TikTok, and people looked to see him dance on logos every week. And now that he wrote those checks and they couldn't cash them the last 3 weeks, they're like, don't write those checks because we don't know what's going on here.
All right, we're going to move on.
Well, hold on. Let me add something.
Okay.
Sorry, Lord.
Okay. We got 4 o'clock games to go through, though.
I know, but I just want to add this. You guys are not in your dome, sweet dome. You're playing in Heinz Field. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, with no fans, no terrible towels. It's
true.
Yeah, there's no way that Jonathan Taylor.
There.
There's no way that Jonathan Taylor, who's ran in Wisconsin, knows how to run a football in cold weather.
That's why they drafted the kid like late in the season. Like,
fair enough. So they're a little tougher now. Okay.
All right. So 4 o'clock game. We got 4 o'clock games, and we're going to start off with all the bad ones. Washington, chance to take their division back against the Carolina Panthers. Who wins this game?
Haskins is starting. It was just announced. We just saw.
So Carolina's winning this game.
Yeah. And I'll take this one first. There's so many storylines. Ron Rivera versus his old team, hosting his old team. Obviously, Haskins was caught at the booty club with the strippers, no mask. They stripped him of his championcy, took it right off his jersey. I don't know how he ever got it. They fined him $40,000. Man, maybe you shouldn't have thrown. He probably threw a couple thousand in the strip club that night and then had to throw 40,000 to the NFL. And I don't know. I just think Haskins is a complete bust. He's a Jersey kid, not far from where I am. They almost drafted him to the New York Football Giants, which I would have loved. But this kid, man, he had the selfie last year when the game wasn't over. The fact that they even let him wear number 7, Joe Theismann let him wear number 7, I knew that. I'm like, that's not going to bode well for him. Like, that's too much pressure on the kid. He couldn't get it done last week against the Seahawks defense, and he had plenty of opportunities. That defense is trash. He had plenty of opportunities to make plays, and he didn't. Alex Smith, I thought he was going to be able to get back and play in this game. And that would have been really like, his comeback player of the year season. This would have been the game to like come back and save him. But Haskins isn't going to get it done against his defense and Matt Rule. And I've given the Panthers more respect, and I think they deserve more respect in their 4-10 record because they have challenged some teams. They had close games against the Chiefs. They had close games against the Saints. They had close games against teams that are just better than this Washington football team is. They lost close games to the Bears, the Saints, the Falcons, the Chiefs. So, like, they've been in some of these games. I think today, playing against their old coach, they get it done. And then Haskins, I think he's going to try too hard to try and, like, make up for his stuff. And I think this kid is already in his head where no way do they get this done today. I'm taking the Panthers. Teddy Two Gloves, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, those guys to make enough plays on offense and this defense to do enough to stop Haskins. He's not really a threat. So I know Washington's favored 1.5, but give me the Panthers. And obviously for the NFC least, need the Panthers to win.
Fair enough. So we do got some biases as well here. Fair enough. Listen, the Washington defense it deserves a lot better, right? It absolutely deserves a lot better than what they got going on at quarterback. Even when Alex Smith is in there, he hasn't been particularly spectacular. And I know he's coming off of a life-threatening injury, and I think he probably still will come back, still win comeback player of the year. But yeah, man, I mean, I think the Panthers offense has been struggling quite a bit. Teddy has, he hasn't been anything special. I would actually like to see them put in PJ Walker just to see what you got there. That could be interesting. But I like the Washington defense against the Panthers offense, man. I really do. And on top of that, like you said, Ron Rivera coming back, facing his old team. I think that he does want this revenge game. And all you got to ask, man, if Antonio Gibson is playing, I'm not sure if he's playing. I was looking at it. It says like there's a 50-50 chance. Yeah, so we'll have to see if he can play. Just feed him.
McLaurin's not going to play, though. Terry McLaurin's doubtful.
Oh, okay. So, well, I mean, to be fair, Haskins isn't going to get it down the field anyway. But, yeah, look, feed Gibson if he plays. Run the ball. Just play, manage the clock. Don't turn the football over. Let your defense feast. And if they can do that, I think that Washington has a good chance of winning this game.
Okay, yeah, if Alex Smith isn't playing, then I don't see Washington winning this game. I'm sorry. If Smith is playing, even without McLaurin, Smith is an accurate, smart football player. So I would give the edge there to go with that Washington defense. Next game on the list, 2 5-9 teams out there in the AFC West, the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Denver Broncos.
Lawrence, I think we have to apologize for Justin Herbert, right? Because we were the biggest Justin Herbert haters. We were like, wow, what a reach that the Chargers pulled. And look at how he's played, man. He's looked good. He's looked really good, like offensive rookie of the year good, and like the next big thing good. That's how well he's played this season. I like the Chargers, man. They've been heating up. The Broncos, like I said it at the beginning of the offseason, man. I know a lot of people like Drew Lock. I'm not the biggest Drew Lock guy. He does show some flashes, but I'm not sure if he's the guy for Denver, man. I think that they continue on their quarterback search. I do. Maybe they give Drew Lock another year just to see what he's got when everybody's healthy and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I like the Chargers here, man. Justin Herbert continues his offensive rookie of the year campaign.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers as well. I like this Justin Herbert kid a lot. He throws a deep ball well. He's just the same like guy throughout the game. He's poised, doesn't show too much emotion. And, he's the guy that they drafted, and the way that things went for him to, get that spot when Tyrod went down, and look what he's done with it. It's like nobody talks about Joe Burrow anymore. Joe Burrow, it's been a few weeks since we saw him go down with the ACL, and now everybody's talking about Herbert. And even though they've lost some games, he's put up a lot of like 300-yard plus games. And I think this is another one at home late in the year against a division rival, against a team that they can definitely go beat. I'm taking the Chargers.
I mean, come on. Phillip Lindsay on IR. Bradley Chubb is out. AJ Boye is suspended. No, you're absolutely without question. I got the Chargers winning this game.
Yep.
Next on the list, we have a game that we're gonna let Joe go first, apparently, because Philadelphia goes to Dallas. Joe, Philadelphia.
This is an interesting matchup right here. Jalen Hurts versus the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys seem to have found a little bit of a spark with Mr. Tony Pollard over Ezekiel Elliott, my biggest first-round pick bust that I've ever had in fantasy, and I'm never picking Ezekiel Elliott again. But anyway, the Cowboys, they've been playing well. It seems like they've been finally playing up to their level of talent that we've been saying. Their defensive players are actually showing up. DeMarcus Lawrence showing some nice things. But Jalen Hurts, man, I actually got to say I like what I've seen from Jalen Hurts. I know it's not anything spectacular, but something about him, man, he just has that intangible, that winner's mentality. I can feel it. I can see it in him. So I really do like Jalen Hurts. Will he come out?
Jalen Hurts because he looks like freaking Lamar Jackson.
Not at all, man. It's all about his eyes, man. What do I see in his eyes? And he has that killer mentality that I like. This is a tough one for me to pick, man. This is a tough one for me to pick. I might actually lean the Eagles. The Eagles, because it's a divisional matchup and crazy things happen. I know it's in Dallas, but I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you a reason why. I like Jalen Hurts, so I'm going to roll with him over Andy Dalton.
No, I think that Andy Dalton, honestly, I think Andy Dalton will have an okay game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Dalton showed out last, so I think he'll do fine again. The Eagles defense hasn't been the Eagles defense this year. That's the problem, right? And that has been their their second biggest problem. We've got to face it. Carson Wentz has been their biggest problem this year. But Jalen's kind of right now, honestly, Jalen's kind of a one-trick pony. His passing game is not that good. He's great running the football, but if you go look at his passing stats, they are not pretty at all. All right. So can Dallas contain Jalen? Can they contain Jalen Hurts? That's the question of this game. I don't know if they can, because Dallas's defense, especially their linebackers, have been so disappointing this season. We'll see. I would like to see finally Dallas come out and do something and put Philadelphia away. But I said 3 weeks ago, I'm not picking Dallas in another game this season. So I'm sorry, Keith, but ever since the offensive line for Dallas and the defense has just been so disappointing, I can't do it. I can't do it. Keith, what do you got on this game?
It's week to week. It's matchup versus matchup. The Dallas Cowboys have fooled some people in the last 2 weeks, beating the 49ers and the Bengals. I personally hate the Eagles as a Cowboys fan and would love to see the Cowboys come out today, beat them, knock them off, and shut their fans up, because their fans are riding high on Jalen Hurts. Their fans, I think more of Jalen Hurts than he actually is based off of these last couple games he's played. Now, I am afraid of our defense containing him. This is a guy that can make plays with his feet. I don't expect him to come out and crush us. I think he put up like 338 yards last week in the air. I don't expect that. But here's the key to the game for the Cowboys. The Cowboys have only been able to win these last two games and win them convincingly because of turnovers. They have been able to create turnovers, which they were not creating at all in the beginning of the year. No fumble recoveries, no interceptions. If the Cowboys can get Jalen Hurts to give them one, maybe two, whether it's a pick or a fumble, then we might be cooking. But if the Cowboys don't create any turnovers, I don't know how much faith I have in our offense to go outscore them. Jalen Hurts is coming back to AT&T Stadium, where he balled out for the Oklahoma Sooners last year against Baylor. He had almost 100 yards rushing and like 280 in the air. So the kid has played in Jerry World. He's comfortable in Jerry World, and it scares me, man. It scares me because these are the type of games that the Cowboys get embarrassed in. These are the type of games that everybody's watching to see what happens. Still in it. some way the Cowboys are still in it. And if they win today and then go beat the Giants next week, they could actually be standing on an NFC championship in this weird year. Like, who would have thought? So as a fan, of course, right, we're not going to be picking in the top 5 now. So go win the division and host a playoff game, and who knows what could happen. That's what I want. But I'm taking the Eagles today because these are the type of games that the Cowboys get embarrassed. Jalen Smith is on his own today. Leighton Vander Esch is out. Jalen Smith plays a lot better when he's got Vander Esch next to him. I'm more afraid of Miles Sanders than I am of Jalen Smith. I think Miles Sanders is going to run all over our defense today. And if we don't create turnovers, we're not going to be in this game. Andy Dalton has played better, yes, but it's week to week. I think that, that the Eagles figure out how to come in Jerry World, prepare for the Dallas Cowboys today. And I think the Eagles figure out how to get a win. So rooting for Dallas. But if I'm a betting man on this game, I'm taking the Eagles to cover that 3-point spread.
All right. Now you got the LA team, that Rams team that was utterly embarrassed last week. Embarrassed. And they are going to want to come out and just completely dominate a team that's currently looking pretty all right at 10-4 with the Seattle Seahawks. Divisional game. Man, Joe, what you got here on this last game that we're going to go over today?
Yep. If this was any other scenario, if this was any other situation, I would absolutely pick the Seahawks to win this game. But since the Rams did what they did last week, you know what they did. They lost to the New York Jets, the winless New York Jets. You think that they're just going to stand by and take that and say, oh, man, we're just going to let that affect us and we're just going to continue the rest of the season and keep losing. No, I think that should have lit a fire underneath the Rams' asses because they are a good team. They are a playoff team, and they need to act like one. And let's be honest, I mean, the Seahawks on offense haven't been spectacular. I know they've been facing up against some good defenses, but I don't know. It hasn't been anything special. Russell Wilson has not been the same quarterback that he was to start off the year, right? Everybody was talking about, let Russ cook, MVP this, MVP that. But no, he hasn't played like that.
Russ was letting stuff burn in the oven.
That's exactly. He's cooking up turnovers. Yeah, but I like the Rams here. Just to come back, I know most people are picking the Seahawks. It is in Seattle, but like we said, no home field advantage, right, with no audience there. So I like the Rams, man. And I think it would be embarrassing for them, for the players, if they come out and lose back-to-back weeks, especially the way they lost last week.
Yeah, I have the Rams as well. There's already been some chatter about Jalen Ramsey versus DK Metcalf. And if it's Jalen Ramsey versus DK Metcalf, I'm taking Jalen Ramsey. And then you also got to worry about Aaron Donald. He's going to be probably pissed off about losing to the Jets and looking to wipe the slate clean and start over today. And I like the Rams offense against the Seahawks defense. They're going to be able to complete their little short passing game. They're going to be able to spread the ball around and get it done today. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, Donald has been a no-show for the last couple weeks. Last couple games, Donald's been a no-show. This is a game against the Seattle offensive line. I think he's going to be in Russell Wilson's face a lot this game. And then on the flip side, yes, I get that Seattle's run defense has been much better the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially with Adams back and healthy. But Akers, I fully expect Akers to have a decent game. I think they're going to run a lot of misdirection run plays so that they'll end up with Adams coming to one side and Akers cutting back, backside away from Adams, away from that strong. And
is Akers playing today? I thought he was hurt.
Is he hurt?
I think he's out today.
Either way, I mean, the Rams running game is still pretty
They still
solid.
have Darrell Henderson.
Yeah.
Around. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they're going to run a lot of misdirection run plays and get their ground game going. All they got to do is average 4 yards a carry against this defense. And then once that happens, as you said, the play action will be there because this Rams offense have got some weapons to throw to. So,
yep.
And Seattle's secondary is not the Rams secondary. So I got the Rams coming out with a massive, brick house on their shoulders, not a chip. All right. I mean, they got a whole entire brick mansion sitting on their back of their shoulders. They want off of that, and they're going to come out and perform dominantly in I believe.
I agree.
So we got one more week before the playoffs, guys, after today and tomorrow. That's kind of, man, football season. We couldn't wait for the football season to start, and now it's getting ready to be playoff time. It went by way too fast. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody that joined here on Sportscaster. You're looking at the Mania, Wildchild 88, and Sammy Sam that joined along with the 60 other people that are watching live here on Sportscaster. Don't forget to give Keith McPherson, Joe Noobo, and myself a follow. Make a profile if you don't have one. And until next time, as usual, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Sportscaster News. Have a good one.
Later.